Hey everyone, today is Sunday, May 31st, 2020. And something interesting that I noticed about today is that we are at the 152nd day of the year, and the word civil unrest equals 152. It's 3/8 on the Hebrew calendar, and the word killing equals 38. It's also 9 years, 10 months, and 1 day after the movie Gun released. So I'm just putting this out here in case we see something even escalate further that has to do with shooting, some type of shooting tonight. So, as last year, I already had two connections to this movie, this gun movie that related to shooting. So, and I assume there will be more. So I talk about that number 322, skull and bones, often, and how I believe it's related to Genesis 3:22. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil, and now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. And I believe that they're using connections with Apple as part of their ritual to orchestrate these events, as the apple is from the tree of life, which relates to Genesis 3:22. And I showed Apple connections and to previous events, and I want to talk a little bit about that again. As we are in the year 2020, and things are just totally chaotic this year, and Apple shares have opened up to the public in the year 1980 at $22 a share. And so this is the fifth month. The letter V equals 5, and the letter V also equals 22. And they have V references a few times here in iPet Goat 2, right at the rabbit's ears. We have this V. There's actually this is a multiple meaning here, which I think relates to the number 8. And Roman numerals, you have the V here on this head. You also have the V here. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and backwards 8. It's right above the apple. When the apple splits in half, it forms two 8 shapes. But that number 8, it correlates with a future date that I have. So I won't get into that now. We also have the letter V on Obama's forehead, which this also, that I believe it relates to another date that I have for Hawaii, and I'll talk about that at some time in the future. But right here you see the ripped up flagpole between the letters U and W. And there's only one letter that's between those two letters, and that's the letter V. So interesting that there are V references in iPet Goat 2. And what movie do we think of wearing the mask and protesting? Of course, V for Vendetta. And the day that George Floyd was killed, there was 220 days remaining. So that 22 connects to the letter V. And it happened in the 5th month. The letter V equals 5. So again, with connections with Apple, some of what I mentioned in other videos, but I just want to mention again, at the beginning of the market crash was on 220, have that 22 number again, and it was 232 months and 22 days after Apple had its worst one-day crash ever, 50% on 9/29/2000. Then the crash after 9/11, when it reopened on 9/17, it was 11 months and 19 days after this 9/29 date. And what I talked about with the killing of George Floyd with 220 days remaining, it also had an Apple connection. It was 2,223 weeks and 2 days apart from Apple being incorporated. That's if the dates are reversed. Something I talked about that in my other video where I reverse the dates there. So I looked at a future date that has this 22 in it. So it's 720, a day with 202 days remaining. And we have another connection that relates to Apple as well, because it's 9 years and 11 weeks apart from the day that Steve Jobs died. Dates reversed. And I wanted to mention this date because of what's going on here. It's also 1,911 months, 1 week, 1 day after the start of the U.S. Civil War. And it's 19,100 days after Martin Luther King Jr. died. So 9/11 connections that I believe that are important to what's going on here. So today also connects to Apple. I should put reverse. Again, the reverse is if I were to switch these dates, put the 5/31 over here and the 1/3 over here. And this connects 222, 2 weeks, 3 days apart from Apple being incorporated. Then we got tomorrow is an interesting connection to Apple because the multiple twos, as Apple has opened its shares up to $22. And we also have a 322 connection to that 2017 eclipse, a 322 connection to the supermoon, a 9/11 connection to U.S. Cyber Command. And one reason why I mentioned the supermoon, because this has correlated or connected to several cyber attack or blackout events. And then we have this U.S. Cyber Command connection. So I'm wondering if something's going to happen where they're going to possibly blame a blackout or some sort of cyber attack on the protesters. I don't know, it's speculation, but if they do, we know it was planned. And it's also 11 months and 19 days, 9/11 connection, after that New York City blackout from last year. Here's some of the things that could have been cyber attack related with that 2016 supermoon. The NASDAQ froze for 3 hours on this date, 8/22/2013, and it's 3 years, 2 months, 22 days apart from the supermoon. The Statue of Liberty lights went out 3 months, 22 days apart from that supermoon. We had a stock market glitch after hours, which could have been from the cyber attack, where several stocks went to 123.47. And one of those stocks was Apple. And that's 2 years, 232 days apart. And there's a Venezuela nationwide blackout on 3/7/2019. It was 2 years, 3 months, 22 days apart from the supermoon. And the largest blackout of 2019 in Indonesia was 32 months and 22 days apart. I see that tomorrow, June 1st, is the 153rd day of the year, and the number 153 equals 109 in the Dewey Decimal System, and the word cyber attack equals 109. Alright, that's all I got for right now, but I just wanted to show you some of the connections that I found for this time frame, and some things we might be looking at to happen. So, alright, take care, guys.